do that. The official launch will be conducted by the State Minister of Local Government. She'll be with us. And then we have a short plenary to discuss and wrap up. So you are all welcome. And at this juncture, I hope everyone who is outside has made it. Let me give you just 2 minutes. We take our seats, and then we can begin with an opening prayer. Please, we want to keep time, bearing in mind that quite a number of our participants come from long distances and they have to go back. So I request that whoever is given an opportunity, we keep time and we stick to the business that has really brought us here. So let me now request that we humble ourselves and we have our prayer. As Ulga, we have an association prayer, and that is the one that is going to be put. So, Robert, are you the one going to lead us in the association prayer? I think you need to come and broadcast it so that people can also be able to follow. So, Robert, you are welcome to come and lead us in the opening prayer.
Okay, can we humble ourselves for the prayer? The prayer is projected. I hope you can see it. And I request that we pray together. Almighty God, yes. Amen.
Thank you so much, Robert. I think you've had the easiest of jobs. You just projected and then you left everyone to pray. But that does not exonerate you. I give you something else to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need now to get to know each other. Because as we are going to be deliberating, as we are going to be discussing, you need to be, at the end of the day, I don't want you to be referring to the gentleman behind there. We need to know who is here, in which capacities, because each one of us has a role to play. So I'm going to request the gentleman with the mic. You are going to help me move around with the sanitizer and the microphone, and you do the needful. So let's start from here. You can start from there. Please tell us your name, your designation, and so that we are aware of why you are part of this meeting.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mtege Kenneth, Senior Commercial Officer, Mukono District.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Makula James Mukasa, Coordinator Local Government Commercial Officers from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Doreen Nasuna, Municipal Commercial Officer, Makinde Sabagaba Municipal Council.
My name, I am
Good morning. My name is Paul Otim Okello. I'm a governance advisor at the EU delegation in Uganda, and as well as the focal person for local authorities. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here. I am Elizabeth Ongom. I also work with the EU delegation in Kampala. I'm responsible for issues on civil society and social development.
Good morning to you all. Mutulu Zapita Clever is my name, and LC5 chairperson PG. Outgoing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Senteza Michael. I'm the Policy and Advocacy Consultant, Uganda Small Scale Industries Association. Thank you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. By the name is Kawere Vincent, Deputy Mayor, Machinde Sabagaba Municipal Council.
Good morning. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dagira Jessica, Cow Mokono.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert Vyaruhanga. I work with Wulga Secretariat.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Protocol observed. My name is Josephine Kalege from Olga.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amanda Kalemba, and I work with Olga Secretariat. Nice to meet you all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brenda Namatovo. I work with Olga as the procurement officer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jovan Mweswa is my name. I work with the Olga Secretariat as an IT assistant.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Charles Musoke. I work with the Wulga Secretariat. I'm a training and capacity building officer.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called David Mtaisa. I work as the accountant for Uganda Local Government Association.
Kazibu Ronald is my name. I'm a district command officer and PG.
At this level, by the time we are done, I think this bottle is going to be empty, the one of the sanitizers. But that aside, because we have to be aware of COVID, let's make sure that we keep our social distance. We are mindful, because it's in such places that the virus can easily be spread. But not to scare you off, we are here really to have an interaction and a discussion on this new project on local economic development. Lead is something that we have been, as a country, grappling with right from the conceptualization of what lead is and appreciation of what our role is. And I'm happy that we've had people who are coming in from the commercial office, and definitely you are the linchpins. You are the people supposed to make sure that local economic development is implemented. And as I was just talking here, I saw a gentleman who is just registering and coming in, and you cannot talk about lead in Uganda without without talking about the engineer who has engineered the local economic development concept right from the start when it was being piloted, to help us understand. But when he comes in, he will introduce himself, and we are very glad that he is part and parcel of this. So let's now move on to the next item on the agenda. And yes, of course, engineer, you are welcome, sir. Someone, the SG will introduce you later on, but there was no way I couldn't mention you when we were just entering and I was giving my remarks. Because in Uganda, you cannot talk about lead without mentioning the gentleman before us. So now let's move on to the opening remarks, and I'm going to call upon the SG, the Secretary General, to come in and give the opening remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very interesting day, so we should be more vibrant. We've had breakfast, so we need to make this interaction a lot more lively, because I hope you can join me in my excitement. My name is Gertrude Rose Gamwera, and I'm the Secretary General. And I'd like to recognize my president, Mr. Joseph Lomonyang, president of the association. I want to recognize the chairperson of our Finance and Management Committee. I mentioned that specifically it's an executive subcommittee of our ULGA National Executive Committee, which is responsible for advocacy on financing issues. So she's here to really champion and see what she has managed to bring forth. But I also want to recognize someone else who's with us, but online. I want to imagine that the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum is already on board, preparing to engage with us in today's launch, as well as our development partners. I am excited and happy to receive our representatives from the EU delegation, Elizabeth and Paul. Thank you so much for giving us your time. As always, I've always said this last program period, EU has made us proud as local governments, and your presence here is a testimony and attestation to that spirit of partnership. I want to recognize the person in charge of the Sustainable Development Goals Secretariat in the Office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Byamgisha. You're very, very welcome. We are here to see how lead will lead us to achieving the SDGs. I hope you can give us even more insights thereafter. But I also want to recognize our representatives from the ministries. We have the Ministry of Local Government. Engineer Kasula is here with us. The person Eugene has ably presented to us as someone who is one of those brains behind our national lead policy. They are here with us to see what we are going to do with that policy, and I hope we can be able to take in the lessons they'll share with us. I want to recognize the official from the Ministry of Trade. You're very, very welcome. We're talking about local economic development. We look forward to having a closer partnership. We really want to see our two ministries closely linked and engaged with our local governments on that subject so that we can spur our local economies. I want to recognize our members. Mpiji, Mukono, Wakiso is supposed to be here together with its Municipal Council of Machindye Sabagabo. District Chairperson Mpiji, I recognize you. Mayor Machindye Sabagabo, I recognize you. And of course the representatives from the technical representatives from the other districts. Kao Mukono, I recognize you, Madam Judith. The commercial officers, you're very, very welcome. Colleagues, friends from the media, staff, I welcome you this morning to this event. I'm delighted to give you my welcome remarks, and I may not have a lot to say, but really to urge you to sit in, listen in, see what we have to do. ULGA has passionately championed the policy of local economic development in the work of its members, and all in the spirit of our mandate. Our mandate is simple: to advocate for the interests of local governments, to make them better at delivering services, to capacitate them, and to make them implement national program priorities aligned within the national policies. So once we were given this baby called local economic development, we picked up running, and here we are today, trying to come up with yet another new intervention to see how we can now, through practice, help our local governments how to better work with that policy of local economic development. But we have tweaked it a little, because in everything we do, we try and are directly working towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. So we hope that at the end of the day, we'll be able to understand what we have to offer in this project, and together everybody in this room has been deliberately chosen because we believe you have a contribution to make towards enabling this project become a success, but more so towards building the capacity of local governments to be responsive in implementing lead, but also using it as a driver or as a means of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I will lead off the acknowledgement and appreciation, especially to EU. EU is here. You can see the emblem is high on agenda. We have a great partnership through our network CLGF with EU, and this support is coming from the EU offices in Brussels. So we acknowledge them, we thank them. We are thankful that they've taken the leap of faith to work with us, the local government in Uganda. But I also hope that this project can be a testimony of how you can directly work with local governments to pursue the local development agenda. So I want to thank you. I won't take much more time, but to welcome you all. Thank you for your time once again, and call upon your active, participation and interactions in these engagements. I thank you so much, and I'd like to hand over to Eugene at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Secretary General of ULGA. And of course, I will just make sure that her message sinks in well, the appreciation that she has extended to all of us, especially the different actors, because each one of us has a role to play to ensure that whatever we are planning, whatever we are setting out to do under this new project can take us to another level. And without taking a lot of more time, the next presentation we are going to have is from a message from the Secretary General of CLGF, and I think the address is going to be broadcast live.
you want to just maybe let me know if you can actually hear what I'm saying? And I hope
Thank you so much, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, and we are appreciative of the message that has been given to us. A number of things for us to reflect upon. And quite frankly, when you look at the communication that has been given, issues of trade, setting the trade agenda, when I see our representatives from the ministry looking at issues of the commercial officers, how are we setting the trade agenda within our local governments? The issue of appreciating lead not as a project but rather as a process. I think my colleagues from the local government, the actors in the local government, you know that that is one of the things we've been grappling with. People looking at lead as a project, something that the ministry started, a project, rather than as a process. She has mentioned about the unmistaken connection and linkage between the lead, local economic development, and the sustainable development goals. Definitely, when we talk about, and Dr. Albert, when we talk about SDG localization, when we move from the rhetoric of what SDGs are and we bring it home, definitely, as mentioned under SDG 17, we are looking at local economic development, and definitely local governments have a role to play. But to me, one of the other things that is a takeaway is the enabling environment. As local governments, how are we creating that enabling environment? And to go back to engineer, when at the beginning of lead, when the ministry was coming up with the policy of lead, one of the key statements he usually talked about was, you cannot milk a cow which you are not feeding. That was the mantra he was always telling us. You can't milk a cow which you are not feeding. So as local governments, how are we creating an enabling environment for making sure that the local economy is stimulated? And we can do that through, of course, legislation and, of course, the policy frameworks. We have the policy frameworks, but at the local level, how are we facilitating that? The issue of financing lead, she has talked about it clearly, and that's where we come in with the different actors. Can we think about the public-private partnerships? How do we bring them in at the local government level? And lastly, the right balance between empowering and regulation. How do we strike that balance at the local government level? So we are very grateful for that communication which you've given us. And at this juncture, let me call upon the Secretary General of ULGA to come in also and give us let's take a deeper dive into why we are here, and also to further augment some of the issues that have been highlighted. SG, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Eugene. And it gives me a pleasure to be here once again. As I was coming in, I saw the town clerk of Machindi Sabagabo walking, one of the pilot local governments. You're very welcome, Mr. Chimboa. Just before I take a deep dive in, I wanted to get back to Lucy and, of course, add my thank you very much for that opening presentation, Lucy. And I personally also wanted to say thank you so much for this project. But it's also very exciting. I must let our delegates know that Lucy is now at the helm of the Secretariat of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum. So kudos to you, Lucy. We are looking to seeing great things happen for local governments. I've worked with you for a long time, and I have all the confidence that we are walking a great journey with you in the Office of the Secretary General for the Commonwealth Local Government Forum. I know that we have other partners online. You're very welcome, Ms. Jennifer Bukohe from UNCDF, head office for Uganda. Thank you for joining us. We are here talking about lead. I'm aware that we're doing quite a bit of work under the START facility, so very, very welcome. I'm also aware that we've been joined by Mr. Ejibu Assam, representing VNG International, who is also a partner with ULGA, and with the local governments they work with, there's a bit of lead component in there. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and we are excited that you've been able to join us. But in this room as well, Lucy talked about private-public partnerships. She talked about issues around building and strengthening value chains. She talked about supporting small and medium enterprise development. And in this room, we have friends from UZIA. Please kindly stand up so that they can see who is here. UZIA is a partner we have on a fairly good low-scale work with as ULGA, and we hope we can get to work much more strongly with you under this project. In the area, I know you're very core on small and medium enterprise development, so we look forward to you bringing in that information, knowledge, and skill. But we've invited the banks. I hope they are represented as of now. I know they should be joining us, a representative from Finance Trust and Centenary. We are mindful of the issue of mobilizing for funding and financial support to these business enterprises. So we hope equally we can be able, together with the microfinance support sector, be able to work with our local governments and the businesses in their economies to do something as we work on the lead policy and also working towards attaining our sustainable development goals. Of course, you will note that on the program we should have been listening in from our ministry. They have just arrived. I'll give them time to settle. Maybe they will introduce themselves at the opportune time to give us that presentation. They've joined the engineer Kasule. But as they settle, I'll go straight to the highlights of what the project is about. I hope we can have a projection happening for the PowerPoint. So the highlights speak to what the proposal was all about at the time of developing this project idea. And basically, that was the mind behind this project. How are we going to use local economic development? First of all, we really wanted to work on local economic development. But at the same time, we are mindful that you cannot speak of it alone without looking at the Sustainable Goals agenda. And like Lucy has elucidated, we believe that when we work with local economic development, we can be able to showcase it as an entry for the achievement of the spectrum of the Sustainable Development Goals. So the project is about enhancing the capacity of ULGA and the local governments for local economic development implementation and realization of the SDGs agenda. Of course, once you deal with ULGA, you're dealing with a broad spectrum of local governments in Uganda. But like Lucy said, this is a pilot, and we've picked a few test local governments we shall be working with on the various ideas, which hopefully we shall be able to pick the lessons and later on roll out to all our members. And definitely for any project in ULGA, as we work along with it, we pick issues which we feed into our advocacy messages along the way. But that statement in bold is also one of the key drivers. Our partners, Accord, we will do a lot of work with them and use a lot of their reports. They are great researchers. Found that lead capabilities at local governments remains low at as low as 45%. We're not going to grow our economies without investing to bring them up to the 100% that we expect them to produce outputs for. But also, there's also finding by the UBOS report of 2016-17 that lead tools and methodologies are not critically known, and nor have they been evenly rolled out, and even the reversing forms and magnitude of poverty are yet to be attained. So this, for us, provides the insight as to why we have to do something about it. And when you go and look at the bigger sector space, we have, there was what was called the Local Government Sector Investment Plan, and that was for the period 2013 and 2023, which kept informing our journey as ULGA. which focused on decentralization for socio-economic transformation, and it prioritized strengthening decentralization to enhance service delivery and local development. Now, this speaks to the mandate of the local governments and also ULGA in general. We are all about enhancing service delivery. But since then, we've realized that the results have a staggered mix due to continuing disconnect between national vision, planning instruments, and local delivery and financing mechanisms. There are issues around the lead adoption, propagation, and implementation, which remains low and non-coherent. But I must quickly add that we have registered certain turnaround reforms and changes in the last 2 years. And definitely, as we shall get to hear from the actors, particularly the ministry, we shall know how different and how strategic we have revisited our direction on lead implementation going forward. But again, this project is also about linkages with the SDGs agenda. Lucy has really spelled this out, but I just got this one slide to just inform that we have been advocating for the localization of the SDGs. I mentioned earlier in the introduction that we have a partner here, the SDGs Secretariat, but of course we've been also supported by UNCDF in these attempts, still at a low scale, but would love to push them to a higher level where we see that all local governments are on board, all their plans are aligned, and are speaking to the indicators of the SDGs when we come to monitoring of implementation of programs. So we hope that as part of the test, the project will therefore be able to integrate, and specifically we believe as we work on lead, some of these highlighted SDGs should be able to come out and show some indication of how lead has been able to show that they are achievable. There should be some reflections and indicators around no poverty, that is SDG 1. We should see something happening around gender equality. When you work with businesses, we know that it is a gender issue there. There should be some indications around decent work and economic growth, which is SDG 8. But also, working with businesses means small-scale industries, and all that means industry, innovation, and infrastructure. We hope that at the end of the day, we can also showcase how we can be able to reduce inequalities through better services delivered to the people. We should be able to showcase how lead helps us have sustainable cities and communities, but also through the interlinkages, we should be able to showcase through this project that they are indeed partnerships for goals as we go forward. And that is where our linkages will focus on as a project. The overall goal for this project is to strengthen ULGA and the local government capacities for lead implementation. You heard from Lucy that from the program goals, the bigger program goals of the CLGF, it's about working with associations and the local governments on the lead policies. But the purpose is to make sure that we do have that capacity as ULGA and local governments to be able to appreciate, to be able to identify, and undertake strategic interventions that will promote lead implementation. It has to happen. But not just lead implementation, but also SDG localization in Uganda. So here we are with this project, working with CLGF, and we hope that this project should be able to support ULGA and the pilot local governments to develop and advocate for country-level strategy that showcases lead as an entry point for achieving SDGs at the local level. We should have that coming out very clearly. We should also be able, at the end of the day, the project drives towards building the capacity of ULGA to engage, to document, and support its member local governments implement the lead policy, and also have strategic interventions geared towards achievement of the SDGs. In both these, we are speaking to the advocacy mandate, we are speaking to the capacity building mandate, but most importantly, we are bringing out the fact that we are a network. We are a platform for learning and experience sharing. Therefore, we should be able to pick those lessons, document them, have them on record, and share them with others so that they equally can get on board in doing things better, the best way we've learned how to. But this object, the project also has another objective, which is to support and build the capacity of ULGA and the pilot local governments to understand lead and SDG concepts and conduct needs assessments and develop related action plans for lead implementation. So at the end of the day, we hope that the actors and the participants will know what the problems are, where they lie, and also strategically have identified solutions to be able to put them in play and address. And lastly, there is an objective around building the capacity of ULGA and the pilot projects to develop bankable projects aligned to the strategy to leverage external resources for lead and SDGs. These days we talk about alternative funding options. We are investigating them, we are interrogating them. Thank you, UNCDF. I know you're major in that direction as well. And we hope that at the end of the day, we must show local governments and our partners and actors that they are resources in the economy. We need to tap them, we need to bring them on board so that we can be able to consolidate all the efforts towards the local development agenda. So who are the actors? I think we've by and large mentioned them. We have up at the front up there, we have the Commonwealth. You've heard from Lucy. And of course, the Commonwealth is supported big time by the EU. The Commonwealth is keen on the national level results. We should be able to have the right policy environments to be able to have the local governments implement the lead policy in a workable system. Of course, we have ULGA, and we as an association, this philosophy around lead was embraced as early as 2013 in response to the highlighted issues of local revenue enhancement and its contribution to local government budgets. And in this regard, we selected lead as a prime driver for improving local government's performance, as well as a pillar of national economic growth anchored on district or regional growth poles. When I talk about the regional growth poles, of recent again, you've learned within the local government family that we have what we're calling development forums, consortiums, and this is all about building strengths and leveraging resources from each other to grow our spectrums at local level. But also, we've been talking about the pilot local governments, and we will be working with Mukono District local government, we will be working with Mpigi District local government, and we will be also working with Machindye Sabagabo Municipal Council under this project. Now, these three pilot local governments were based on a criteria that by and large is very basic. Mpigi is looked as representative of the largely rural local governments, and we all know that with the creation of units that has been going on, and with the current trend for urbanization, there are certain reflective characteristics that are quite interesting if you're going to talk about growing the economy business-wise. But we also have Mukono, which has moved from the rural and is in what you can define as semi-urban characteristics. I know they've been largely pushing for a city. We got the cities, but we are still waiting for Mukono City, but you're getting there. So probably this project could be able to project and take you to that level where you need to go, to a city status. But we hope that even the results in such an environment should be able to be fed into this project for our learning. And lastly, Machindye Sabagabo is truly gazetted as urban, and that's what we want to know. Even in the urban, what happens? How do we work with lead? How do we use lead to attain the SDGs? It's as simple as that, and this is the provision we made for who we will be working with. So to you, the participant pilot local governments, at the end of the day, we hope that whatever we shall put in this project should be able to produce the following. We should be able to showcase an increase in local development outcomes informed by the relative sustainable lead strategies that we will develop, which should be responsive to the SDG goals as implemented by us, the actors. Then, of course, we should be able to see that there is enhanced capacity at the level of ULGA, but also at your level, to advocate for effective national-led policies. The lessons shall be fed into the advocacy strategy, and we hope that the advocacy shall contribute to increased local development and attainment of the SDG goals. But also, we hope that at the end of the project, we shall be able to document best practices and strategic interventions that inform ULGA and local government-led policy implementation as linked towards the achievement of the SDGs agenda. So we hope that this information shall be useful to you, our different partners, the ministry, the development partners, and our other members in the association, so that they can be able to pick from that and use it to fulfill their mandates. We hope that also this project shall be able to showcase that indeed LED is a place where we have strong and sustainable partnerships, and that through these partnerships, external resources can be leveraged to drive the local development agenda, as shall be influenced and informed by LED and the SDG agenda. Immediate outputs, when we get going, we should be able to have ULGA and local government needs assessments done on LED policy implementation and attainment of SDGs. We should be able to identify where the issues are. Then we should be able to have ULGA and the pilot local governments led advocacy and program implementation supported by country national level led strategies aligned to the SDG goals. So we should have a lot of policy advocacy, reforms or improvements. Then we should be able to have in place empowered and skilled ULGA and local government officials capable of undertaking effective led planning, project implementation and monitoring. And this is very critical because we have the commercial officers here. They've been put in office, and at one time I remember when they had just started, the office had just said, somebody told me, are you looking for marketeers for your local government services? So maybe we should change that mindset of being looked at as marketeers, but serious people who are going to drive a very important policy at that level. Then we hope that at the end of the day, the organs that have been sleeping or non-functional should be able to get an idea on how to do business and become functional to champion led implementation both at association level and at the local government level. But there are also other immediate outputs, like increasing the capacity of ULGA and local governments to engage and document and manage knowledge transfer processes of lessons learned. This is one of the biggest areas which I think if we put our minds together, we need to really investigate. I've always argued that there is so much going on at local government level. There's so many good initiatives going on, but documenting them, reporting on them, and making the world know or helping others know how to do it is something we continue to fall short on. And I hope that we can be able to get more insight on how to do it better through these projects. And this is evidently showcased where you have different projects pursuing the same goals, and each one starts from zero instead of building on to what has already been there. So I hope in this project we can be able to show that the next led interventions that come in, something has been done, and this is what you can do. This has been successful, maybe this remains outstanding, and we move on. But there should be awareness. We need to build more awareness about led programs and the SDGs agenda. People are still grappling with understanding led, knowing what it's about, how they have to work with it. So we hope that this project can also help us provide insight on how to do that better. We hope as an output, seventh output, that at local government level we shall have led partnerships for public and private engagement in forms of the business platforms held. We shall see more business platforms happening in the 3 pilot local government areas, which attract both public and private actors to grow the local economies. And lastly, we hope that this project can also help us fulfill our commitment to having annual led conferences. We hold annual led conferences, but also regional development forum dialogues through which our local governments come and share from one corner of Uganda to another. But the advantage of us working with CLGF is that we are part of a broader network of Commonwealth countries, and we can draw on these experiences to bring them during these dialogues and during the conference to showcase what they are able to do with the led policy and how they've been able to work with it to achieve the sustainable development goals. There are quite a number of activities, and I'll quickly run through them, what we are going to do under the project to realize the outcomes and the outputs. And they are going to be both at ULGA level, but also others shall be at local government level. So at ULGA level, we are going to focus in on our led policy and align it to the strategy, because for any direction you must have a compass Our campus is our institutional lead policy, not the national lead policy. At one time somebody told me, why would ULGA have a lead policy when there's a national lead policy? Ours is organizational. Ours is to inform our strategy on how we are going to support our members realize the expectations around the national lead policy. So we shall focus on that and make it practical and realistic. We shall also do a scan of the environment on lead policy and assessment to inform our advocacy agenda. But also, we shall undertake local government needs assessment on unlocking their potential for lead, and also we shall invest in the advocacy agenda through research and conducting strategic advocacy engagement platforms at national level with the focal ministries. We shall have engagements to see how to take the lead policy requirements forward. We will invest in communication tools to facilitate the awareness agenda and learning agenda. I've talked about holding the 4th lead conference. Yes, we've already held 3 of them. We are due for our 4th. Last year it was interrupted by COVID, so we still have to hold it. And then, of course, we hope that in this project also, we can be able to come up with a template or guideline for local governments to undertake brand profiling and also investment marketing strategies. Then we'll also use our platform of ULGA to promote peer learning, networks, partnership development amongst the participant local governments and identified public and private partners as well as development partners. For the pilot local governments, they will equally conduct their needs assessments. They will develop their policies and strategic action plans on lead. Then we hope to also invest in the business forums I've talked about, for them to be able to come up with a platform to communicate and dialogue with their communities in order to promote partnerships for development. They will also invest in SDG localization awareness building in their localities, but also on local business enterprise development for the SDGs. And we hope that at the end of the project, they will also have capacities built for their district leaders and technical officers who will now be able to plan for and monitor lead for SDGs programs in the local governments. We believe that the project at local government level will be able to train and build the capacities of selected lead focal persons and the leadership in the development of bankable proposals. This is a very key area identified for local governments, and we hope the project can be able to support that. And also local support to local government institutional strengthening to ensure functional lead organs and structures. We know you have lead committees that are sleeping. Can we use this project to showcase how we can wake them up and put them to work? This project shall be monitored and evaluated, and we will have quarterly reviews for its activity implementation. We will conduct performance assessments and during the quarterly monitoring visits to the pilot local governments. We shall have biannual performance assessments as well as annual planning and review meetings with the pilot local governments to assess impacts. Those are the 3 immediate entry points for project monitoring and evaluation for this project. In terms of structures, at the top we'll have what we are calling the ULGA Project Steering Committee, and this one has the president of ULGA as the chairperson of that committee, who will be joined by the chairperson for the ULGA Finance and Management Subcommittee, which is more of our lead committee, lead and investment committee. Then we hope that the 3 chairpersons of the local government led committees will join that steering committee, and the PS or the representative of the PS at commissioner level, and the commissioner responsible for planning in the Ministry of Local Government, as well as the CLGF representative. This committee will have the Secretary General as its secretary. Then right next to it, we have the Technical Steering Committee with the Secretary General chairing as the overall supervisor of the project. Then the Secretary General will be joined by the accounting officers of the 3 pilot local governments, a representative of the ministry at the level of commissioner responsible for lead, and we shall have an assigned ULGA project officer to coordinate and work on the secretariat coordination activities. At local government level, we hope that you'll be able to onboard your technical planning committees to constitute the committee at that level, and this is chaired by the accounting officer. But we also wish to emphasize that for our project purposes, the commercial officer joins that committee, and the Olga project officer will also come in to join the sittings of that committee for purposes of building linkages during the project implementation process. To coordinate and manage this project, the Secretariat of Olga shall be in place to handle the operations, and also will be responsible for reporting to CLGF. And there will be constituted a project implementation team forming the project management unit. And for us, for now, all staff do contribute to projects that come into the Secretariat to make them functionable. But the commercial officers are expected to join this team to link and bridge the effective coordination of actions between the two levels. So any issues around management and coordination, we shall expect the commercial officers to join our meetings and planning teams at the end of the day. I will take you back to the beginning of the slideshow for something I had not talked about, and that is the period. So this project is running from March 2021 to March, it should be, sorry about that, July to March. We've had an adjustment because of the COVID processes and everything. We hope to conclude our activities by March 2022, and July will be more of a reporting period at the higher level of the CLGF and the EU. So this is what the project is about. It's really LED and SDGs, and it's really about giving us a kickstart to seeing how things can be done beyond our exchange of experiences and learning. How do we now get down to work with the local governments? How do we do it so that we can begin to pick out the areas where we may have issues that hamper our successful implementation of the national-led policy. So I thank you, and this is much about what the project is about.
Thank you so much, SG, for taking us through the project, the objectives, its implementation modalities, I expect at the end of the day. Before I call the colleagues from the ministry, I realized that a number of participants came in. So the gentleman who was helping us with the microphone, you can move and I tell you where to go. You can begin with Engineer Kasule here, and then afterwards you will go to the cow Mukono behind there. All right. Okay. Let's begin. We want to hear your voice, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Kasule Mukasa. I work with the Ministry of Local Government. I'm in charge of programs and projects in the ministry there. Some of them include local economic development. Thank you very much.
Okay. Can give the colleagues from the ministry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Tumwine. I work with the Ministry of Local Government in the Department of LED as a Senior Development Officer. And as for now, I have a presentation that I'm going to make on behalf of the ministry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ruth Kashaga, a development officer under LED department in the Ministry of Local Government.
Behind there, the gentleman in the suit there.
I'm Kimberly Joseph, Town Clerk, Makinde Sabagaba Municipal Council.
Wamala Francis, representing the Chief Administrative Officer MPG.
Actually, because of the masks, I had mistaken you for the cow. That explains. So maybe online in the gentlemen and ladies online, I want to particularly mention Dr. Jennifer Bukoke. When we talk about lead in Uganda, just like I was talking about Engineer Pokasule, those are the pioneers of lead. Ma'am, we are appreciative of the work you have done and whatever support you've given the process of developing local economic development. We appreciate that. All right, the others I think have been, they have been introduced. So let me ask that we now get the presentation from the ministry. The representative from the ministry can come, but also Dr. Albert, you were not introduced. I have not heard your voice today. So please, the gentleman with the microphone, can you give it to Dr. Albert? Previously, he was the commissioner of monitoring and evaluation in OPM, and now he's in charge of SDGs. So you are welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much. I thought I was introduced by the Secretary General, but because you want to hear my voice, my name is Albert Byamujisha, Senior Technical Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals and Head of SDG Secretariat at the Office of the Prime Minister. This is the Secretariat which is now a hub that is responsible for coordinating the implementation of all the sustainable development goals in Uganda. So I hope this LED project should find its way in the Secretariat, and it's good that you have invited us to attend the launch. Thank you very much.
That's why it was very important to hear from you. Thank you very much. And now, as the technical people are trying to sort it out, but I think you can come and you take the stage. So let's welcome the representative from the ministry who is going to come and give us the presentation. You are welcome, sir.
Once again, my name is Stephen Tumwine, a Senior Development Officer in the LED Department, Ministry of Local Government. As a department, I must say that we are privileged to be part of this launch because it is the Secretariat that is spearheading all the LED initiatives in the country. And I must implore each and everyone that who is here that LED is the way to go if you are to fight poverty in this country, if you are to create employment opportunities for the youth, if we are to widen the tax base of local government, as we will see from the presentation in the slide.
presentation on lead overview and its functional areas in NDP3. Of course, our cardinal route is right directly from NDP3, and that is where we lay our main backbone in delivering lead initiatives in this country. Okay. We are going to have a definition of lead, origin of lead, goal and objectives of lead, lead implementation in Uganda, policy context, the lead policy guiding principles, what should be included in the DDDPs, lead promotional strategies, financing for lead interventions, and what planners should do as they finalize DDDPs in conclusion. Definition of lead. Lead is a development approach that is bottom up. Like I have told you that if you are to fight poverty in this country, the cardinal points are the youth right away from down there. So it is an approach that is designed right away from bottom to up. Lead is a process through which local governments, the private sector, and the communities form partnership to mobilize, manage, and invest local resources effectively into economic ventures to stimulate development and growth of the locality. It is intended to create a conducive environment for economic investment, increased household incomes, and revenues for local governments for improved livelihoods in the locality. Origin of lead. Members, you are aware that under decentralization, the government, through the Ministry of Local Government, decided to promote a more proactive intervention model that entails tackling real household poverty challenges. To this end, in 2006, the sixth objective of decentralization was created to promote local economic development in order to enhance people's incomes. Goal of lead. The goal of doing lead is to create new and a variety of jobs, increase household income, and improve the quality of life for all in the locality. Lead therefore supports dialogue among actors in the public sector, business, private sector, and community, with the specific objectives of creating a conducive environment for investment through enacting bylaws and ordinances. Since 2006, implementation of lead has been undertaken at the central government level and in selected local governments, but with varied success owing to the lack of coordination and clear and uniform conceptualization of the lead. Lead seeks the following aims. One is increase in business support by encouraging local investment centers. Two, enhance growth of the private sector investment in local governments. And three, increase in locally generated revenue in form of direct taxes and local government own revenue generating ventures. Objectives of local economic development. Of course, to create wealth for households, hence reducing poverty as a result of increased household incomes. Two, to enhance private sector growth and development. Three, to adopt bottom-up planning to embrace the local government priority needs. For four, we have to increase revenue base for local governments, which ultimately translates into improved livelihoods for the people. Lead implementation in Uganda, the policy context. Lead implementation is being guided by the national lead policy formulated in 2014. The ultimate aim of lead is to reduce poverty, improve people's incomes and livelihoods, and enhance improved service delivery through increased local government revenues. Role of lead in ADP 3. Of course, we can start with a vision, a transformed society from a peasant to a modern and prosperous country by 2040. And the goal is increase household income and improve quality of life. The theme is sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth and employment and sustainable wealth creation. The nexus of NDP 3 goal and lead goals. As you can see from the slide above, there exists a strong nexus between lead goals and the major goal of NDP 3. Foundations of NDP 3 plan, of course, we can also go through them, but further we are aware that NDP 3 is anchored on the progress made, challenges encountered, and lessons learned from previous planning and implementation of NDP 1 and NDP 2. It is also cognizant of the Uganda Vision 2040, East African Vision 2050, and African Agenda 2063, as well as Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. We are aware that the plan aims to address the following: the need to build a modern, people-centered, independent, integrated, resilient, and self-sustaining economy by continuing to focus on growth, Uganda's real economy. 2, the need to address head-on the 68.9% of Ugandan households still in a subsistence economy. These produce food for own consumption and not for the market. 3, the need to address the poverty reversal from 19.7% in 2012-2013 to 21.4% in 2016-2017 in Bukede, Busoga, Teso regions, and still the high poverty levels in the regions of Lango, Acholi. They need to harness the large youth population consisting of 78% of the population, approximately 35.5 million people, if we are to achieve the demographic dividend. Of course, you will see that the main goal here is increased household incomes and improved quality of life. Like as we have seen, that the theme is sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth and employment wealth creations. We will see the objectives, the strategies that are within envisaged there, and then the programs that are aligned to it. Under the objective 1, we can see enhanced value addition in the key growth opportunities, where we, under strategies, we have promote agro-industrialization, to increase local manufacturing activity, promote mineral-based industrialization, harness the tourism potential, 5, promote extra export-oriented growth. These ones are aligned. We have provided a suitable for fiscal, monetary, and regulatory environment for private sector to invest. We have increased local content participation, and the programs aligned there. We have private sector development, manufacturing, and digital transformation. These are key important. There are many. I want to go through them, but in the interest of time, we will share. We'll share them for the benefit of us all. But let me move to strategic issues for local economic development. What are those? LED has prioritized the following strategic issues to consider. One is capacity building at local level, as the previous discussant was saying. We're also saying that we need to enhance capacity building at the district local governments. We need to do stakeholder involvement that brings in public and private business, CSOs and communities. We need to have local level led networks, public-private dialogues, platforms, both at national and the districts. And as led, we are trying to form, as led department and the secretariat, we have moved down, we are trying to form these platforms, especially with the district TPCs, we're empowering the district commercial officer, the district production officer to be cognizant in spearheading this. We have development of tools, guidelines, and regulatory instruments. We have development of a pool of business development support experts and funding. Challenges, the strategic issues are aimed at addressing. Of course, we have capacity gaps, capacity constraints in human resource and skills, existing lead initiatives that are not linked to the local reality, lack of participation of important stakeholders in the design of lead strategies and plans, like still the previous discussant had cited that we need a lot of sensitization for people to appreciate the lead in strategies and initiatives. Then we have reliance on consultants to design lead programs, economic challenges, infrastructure issues. There are some places that are hard to reach. The road network is poor, lack of coordination in the existing institutional frameworks, as you may know. Then role of lead, Minister of Local Government in ADP3. What is our role as lead and as a ministry? We need to support local government to upscale their lead strategies in terms of human resource development, so that we have the lead practitioners down there. We need institutional, to do institutional, or we are doing institutional strengthening and system development for lead promotion, development of new industrial business parks and premises to meet business needs. The lead department is piloting with, for example, State House in developing the industrial hubs in 20 different regions. The aim is to boost local economic development and in the respective district local governments. Then we're also doing development of infrastructure, roads, electricity, energy, communication, water, solid waste management, of course, in addition with other MDAs, so that the lead is felt in the district's local governments. We have trying to create a conducive regulatory framework for improved productivity and competitiveness. We are also doing a lot in improving the physical environment, attracting private investors in different localities, creation of ripple effects to local enterprises, support the local private sector to become more productive and competitive through especially improved production methods, information on improved crop and livestock breeds, supporting exposure visits and exhibitions among the enterprises, setting up a local government one-stop information shop in order to support business, supporting intra-private sector dialogues, corporations, associations, and networks to encourage experience sharing. Then as we continue, we also, as a ministry, we have doing improving access to business development services through local initiatives. We are supporting joint purchase of inputs, for example, seeds, fertilizers, for increased bargaining power. Especially we do all these ones in relation with other MDAs, supporting collective marketing through bulking, providing information to farmers about market needs, prices, branding of products, value addition ventures, such that our farmers can be able to compete in markets in both locally and internationally. Then support the construction and improvement of marketplaces where our farmers can take those products and sell them. Providing information to business on the types of credit that are available locally, and how to access business finances. Of course, this is always key in financing the RED projects in a number of setups. We also have, we're also doing encouraging private banks to open branches in different localities so that our farmers, our lead practitioners can access the finances at their own disposal. Formation and strengthening cooperative circles. I'm glad that the commercial officers are in this meeting, and they have helped us in strengthening the circles and cooperatives in the district local governments. Lead promotion strategies in local governments. One, we have improved access to business development services through local initiatives. Under this, the Secretariat, we are doing community empowerment to demand for business development services. We're also improving the quality of extension services in relation with the other MDAs, for example, the Minister of Agriculture. We now have these extension services up to the district, up to the local government level, at sub-county local government. That these are very key in helping farmers down there and all other lead practitioners in those localities. We are also doing developing an inventory of business developing services providers, including respective packages, skills, and costs. Ladies and gentlemen, still as a department or as a secretariat in the Ministry of Local Government, we have a number of challenges in financing lead interventions. As you may have noted, the ministry aims to promote lead as a more proactive intervention model that entails tackling real household poverty challenges. To a large extent, the aim is to address challenges faced by the agricultural sector, and which is the backbone of this country. The focus is to build capacities of communities and local governments aimed at addressing challenges constraining their production and productivity, i.e. how low adoption of modern farming techniques, mechanization, low competitiveness, limited extension services, low access to agricultural credit, outdated regulations, laws, mindset issues, pests, vectors, and diseases. Poor agronomical practices, adulteration. You have heard of issues recently of maize appropriation at the border, climate policy, inconsistency, and multiplicity of initiatives, as well as environmental degradation. These are so key challenges facing lead interventions, both at national and local governments. Then we also have facilitate private sector growth and build synergies among all sectors required to cause sustainable development. However, for that to happen, local governments require preparation. They also require reorganization. They also require technical setup, upscaling of structures, and which is a challenge. We still, ladies and gentlemen, we still have gaps from the parish to the village levels. The presence of these gaps requires Ministry of Local Government to review local council structures and support systems and structures to facilitate delivery of the plans and interventions. Prioritization of production and productivity of priority commodities identified by government should be determined by led to scientific approaches of examining locally potentials and determining which intervention to pursue. This, however, requires us to prepare local government technocrats on how to carry out such exercises. 3, unfortunately, the current budget cuts appear to undermine our efforts. With the exception of a number of areas affected by budget cuts, cutting of the inland travel budget, for the local government sector, especially, the ministry has adverse effects in view of the heavy task regarding technical backstopping support to local governments for adoption of the parish model, monitoring and support to all led initiatives, and managing all emerging issues arising. I think the area should have been ring-fenced. Ladies and gentlemen, conclusion and the way forward as we strive to promote led interventions in line with NDP3s, where we have, I can say, agro-industrialization. The led intervention contribute to NDP3 programs of agro-industrialization, tourism development, private sector development, sustainable urban development, human capital development, community mobilization and mindset change, and regional development. Realization of the interventions, however, requires special consideration in terms of funding, priority funding for tangible inputs, and monitoring is key. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to end here as we implore each and everybody to pursue the lead in his locality, because it is the only way we can fight poverty at household levels. It is the only way we can create employment opportunities. It is the only way we can enhance or widen the tax base of the local governments. Honorable President Olga, I beg to submit. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the representative from the ministry. And we have now come full circle, because we started with an idea as a project. We went into the nitty-gritties of what we want to do, and now we've seen that it is clearly anchored into the ministry goals, objectives, and also linked to the NDP3. And now, having heard from the different presentations, I want us to have an honest discussion, because many times you find that a project comes on board because different stakeholders have not had an input or openly discussed some of their concerns. Then we just end up just having a project for the sake of having a project. Having had this discussion, can we get contributions from the participants who are here? What are your thoughts? What do you think we need to add? The way forward? Any issue that needs more clarity? The linkage? How can we best implement this? Because we've explained how the project is going to be set out. We've tried to show how it's linked to the planning frameworks. And also we need more clarity. So on especially, and when the time comes, I would love to hear from Dr. Albert, the issue of SDG localized with the gentleman from the Ministry of Trade.
Thank you very much. As you heard from the presentation by the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, trade and investment are very key in local economic development. However, I think there was a mistake made, and Ministry of Trade was excluded from the steering committee. So I'd like to propose that the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives be included as part of the steering committee. And yeah. And also maybe we can have lead focal persons, not necessarily commissioners, because from our own experience, commissioners are managers. So they manage various result areas in our departments. And it will be very hard for you to get a commissioner to be present in every meeting you will call upon them. So, but a lead focal person is that person who will, on a daily basis, research on lead, you know, and therefore will be very well equipped with knowledge to beef up the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another observation? Another observation or contribution? Yes, from Mozia.
Thank you very much. It's been quite comprehensive in terms of detail and a well framed out plan. However, I think like the person who mentioned integration of the Ministry of Trade, I believe that in relation to organizations similar to Uganda Small Scale Industries Association, there is a key, we are key players and believe that integration of representation in that area would be very important because we're looking at industrial development, we're looking at community development, developing value chains, and the one thing that's for sure is that you cannot have community development without value chains, without linkages, without connecting to communities. And what we're looking at is as an organization, we're looking at developing industrial opportunities and sectors from micro level, where you look at you know, household incomes that develop communities by opening up other entities. So we believe that part of the SDG goals, which includes the STIs, is pivotal around industrialization, which will increase productivity and the development we're looking at. So I do believe that it's key to integrate those entities that have a connection to the ground and to the people that actually are developing. And most importantly is something I had a chat earlier on about a certain amount of autonomy for the local governments, because at the end of the day, at the moment, I've not had anybody mention how far can the local governments go to implement certain things within their localities without necessarily pulling the central government into their hand. Because most of the time, they understand the demographics, they understand the local communities, and development comes by understanding your social ecosystem. So I believe that something like that could be helpful to integrate so that the synergies work you know, collaboratively to provide the development we're looking for. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Bring the mic to Engineer Kasule.
Thank you very much once again, Mr. Moderator. The Secretary General has stepped out because what I wanted to raise was on her presentation that she made. I'm just curious whether we, at this point in time, there's still room to make some amendments to the design, if at all. If there's room to kind of like make some amendments to the design where possible. I've already, Usia, I think, and Ministry of Trade have raised a few issues of stakeholder involvement. Now, the other issue I want to bring out is really about the outputs of the program itself. One, I see that it's very short. We only have 1 year. And given the amount of time it takes to change, because this is about mindset change and doing things a bit different from the way we've been doing them. I think 1 year, which I see taking us from March 2021 to July 2022, I think is a very short time. If possible, we need to revisit that. Now, in Kenya is almost all decisions they take, be it political, be it even spiritual, they are very mindful of what is this likely to do to the private sector, to the business community. Here, I think we tend to do a lot. Ministry will do this, government will do this, we shall do this, you know. There, it's, yes, we can do that, but how will it affect business? How will it affect everything we are doing? And that's what we are still lacking in our local governments today. The decisions taken in the councils, the decisions taken in the planning processes, they are not about how will this help the economy, the planning system, the business sector. And in some countries I know, they've even gone to the extent of saying that if you were to appoint a minister for trade, for instance, that person is seconded by the Chamber of Commerce to run. So the involvement of the private sector in the decisions of government, in everything that happens at local government level as well, is around business. So I think that's one thing we need to make sure this project does. How do we get the councils, especially the new ones now, we've got new elected councils coming in next month. The first thing we should do is try to change their mindset, to start thinking, how do we, whatever decisions we take, how will they affect the economy, and how do we build our local economy? That should always be at the center of whatever. Not how will they, how will this, whatever we do, how will it help me to come back in the next election? Yes, fine. But how will it affect the local economy? If we can, if this project can help us to get that far, then I think we will have achieved, we would have gone very, very far. Now, and doing that, I think there is something also that we need to do. And we try to do it in our local governments. Set up fora where you are, where the local councils, the cow, the chairperson, the deck, everybody, every month you are having dialogue with your private sector players. Every single month you must have discussions. If I'm a DJ like these young men here, we need to find out what do we need to do to ensure that their business prospers. On a monthly basis, those are actually daily basis, those are the things that should be going through our minds. What should we do in Kampala Central Division to ensure that Golden Tulip makes money, you know, improves the way it makes, you know, it attracts customers and so on. That's what should be our discussion every day in our local governments. But unfortunately, all of it is around, yeah, oh, these people have asked for a road, these ones have asked for water. Fine, it's all good. But I think things need to also go to how do we ensure the local economy is supported. If we do that in this program, I think we will have also achieved a lot. We went with Marion here about in 2012, I think it was 2012, we traveled with Marion and another group of people to South Korea. If there's anything I learned there, if I could have forgotten everything else, but one thing I learned there was that when they had a president called General Park, what he used to do every single month, he would hold a meeting with the private sector and he would ask each one, Stephen, what do you want to do How much did you produce if you're producing cotton? How much did you produce last month? Yeah, so many bales of cotton. What should I do to ensure that you double next month? Now, those were the kind of discussions, and that's the kind of discussion we should also be having at local level. And in fact, when we came back, we told all the cows and town clerks that this is what you need to do. Look around, who are the business partners you have in your locality? Hoteliers, petrol stations, farmers, big ones. I mean, there are many. Find out what is it we need to do. You have a lot of schools which are privately owned. What do we need to do to ensure that these schools, the school owners, actually help us with the burden of educating children? Because you don't have money to build schools for everyone. But here you are, you're having private sector people, they're building schools, running them. Now, when do you sit with them to find out what do we need to do as a district to help you so that your school can take on more kids, the grades improve, and so on. So that for us as a local government, now we do whatever we think is possible for us. So to me, I think if we can just get those done, our local economic development program, this project we are launching today, will have taken us very far. I thank you. I could have said a lot more, but I think let me just stop here for now. Thank you to allow
Thank
others.
you so much. Kao Mukono, and then I come to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm Ndagire Jessica once again, Kao Mukono. I'm indeed in line with what the engineer has thrown in as far as local economic development is concerned. The major key word here is local. The challenge here, you know, local, not as in local, but of course, the local way of developing. And that is how we should manage it. Not local, but taking it at another level. He has indeed mentioned it, that when we are to develop this as a part of the like for instance, like at sub-county level, right from that level, at parish level, how many developers do we have? What kind of business do we have? Even if there are these people who for Butunda, we have to organize them and find out, if we organize such village meetings, what is their interest? I tried it once when I was a town clerk. Actually, from pursuing that diploma, I tried it because I copied that idea from Rotterdam. They had that model of a business community that before any planning period, they invite the business community once in a quarter. They sit up, see what is the demand from the business community. I tried it when I was in Gombe. I remember I met a number of business partners where I met the late Haji Lubega for Kaboja. And in a way we agreed. He was interested in a road. I managed to ensure that I establish a road, and he helped us to connect power. You can imagine, he single-handedly installed 20 poles because I managed to do what? To open up a road. And that is local economic development. So it is very important that we get it away from our papers and we make it that local, and we feel what are they really interested in as the community as we plan. But and even another issue is about how was it unveiled? At unveiling, was it unveiled as a project? Because that is where the perception comes from. Because if we unveil it as ours, it becomes a challenge to at a certain point to ensure that at least we lure the people or the community into buying in. And yet it is supposed to be the community project. And there are people there. They are very much interested. When you single out such community, like business people, they feel so proud. I used to do that. And as far as opening up roads, we agree, Hajj, because mine was a Muslim community. And in a way, we would agree, open up that road, and we see a place developed. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much for bringing it home, especially the localization aspect. You see, many times the challenge we have is getting what we have from the theory to practice. And I think that is the discussion we are having. How do we change the mindset? How do we change the way we approach it? It's what engineer here was mentioning. The issue of mindset change. It's okay. The issue of mindset change. How do we change the mindset? And the mindset is not only within the community which we are targeting, but even amongst us. How do we transcend from being from the service delivery mode where we are just giving services to now engineering the what? The development, to facilitating the development. And I think that is the discussion we should be having. Yes, sir. And afterwards we go to Dr. Albert. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Kawere Vincent, Deputy Mayor Sabagabo, once again. And I'll begin from the concluding remark that was made by the representative of SFLG, where she said that I hope this is the new beginning. And for me, I will endeavor to add on that statement by saying, I'm basically talking in the context as a leader or politician, that let it be the new beginning of not numerous workshops, but the new beginning of action. Because we have got so many programs from so many donors, so many funders, some programs from government, whereby you give workshops a full year and you give the implementation period 6 months. So let us be focused in the direction of implementation. Then too, there was a statement from Ministry of Local Government presenter who talked about LEAD having been a program running from Ministry of Local Government since 2006. But along the way, there was a statement that scared me when he outrightly said that they found out that the success varied mainly because there was no coordination. I got scared. I even scratched my head. I wish I had got the opportunity to look through that presentation before it was aired out, because as a country at ministry level we say we have run a program since 2006, and by 2021 we have realized that it has not achieved to the expectation because there was no coordination. For God's sake, how can you begin and run a program for 1, 2, 3 so years without coordination? I think let us also check ourselves. Then the doctor, finally, as he was presenting, mainly his trigger pointed at the local government councils. Between myself here and my senior chairman in PG district, Honorable Mturuza, I think as councils, we have tried our level best to pass patriotic resolutions and decisions in these councils. However, we have got also to check ourselves when it comes to the implementation stage. For example, we should ask ourselves, are we really in the high gear of acceleration when we talk about decentralization in Uganda? The truth is, the answer is no. We are in a very high gear of reverse when it comes to decentralization. We always talk about our accounting officers here, the town clerks, the cows. But nowadays, even me, I want to call them the accounting agents, not accounting officers. Because the moment you say that the town clerk or the cow approves a transaction, and along the way you say there is a final approver in the ministry, sincerely speaking, is this the final accounting officer or the person who is the final accounting officer is in the ministry? So you find sometimes also a council takes a decision in form of a resolution, very good, very patriotic, adds a lot of value, in the direction of lead in this context which we are discussing to our community. The accounting officer also approves, but when it comes to the implementation, the bureaucracy should also be checked at all the levels in this country. Thank you very much.
And he has spoken as a true politician. Of course, however, don't scratch your head, because if you ever scratch it, we don't know where it will end. But one of the things we need to be aware of, and I'm not taking the side of the ministry, but from my little knowledge of how that whole process ran, it first began as a pilot. And of course, the person who was running it, we have him here. However, when it was rolled out from the pilot mode, because by that time it was being supported by UNCDF, when it became a program, the issue he's talking about was, first, the mind change bit, because people were used to projects, and that was the major problem. People thought this is a project, lead is a project that is supposed to come with money, yet there is no money that was coming with regard to lead, but rather the change in the mindset and making sure that you streamline lead into the operations of the local government. And we are, Bwana Mayor, before, even if we don't lament, the ministry has taken corrective measures. Previously, there was no commissioner in charge of lead. Now we have structures. There is a whole department in charge of lead, and it is as a response to some of these challenges. So, yeah, steps are being taken, however baby steps they may be, but we are moving in the right direction. And the key issue is the mind change. So if we can be able to change the mindset of the people implementing, just like this project is trying to come up and do, then we shall be moving in the right direction. So let's see, how do we localize it in the context of lead? I mean the context of the SDGs. Dr. Albert, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I think somehow I want to associate myself with the previous three speakers. Here we are talking of lead, which is a very good project. But for my concern, I will be talking about how is it an entry point in the implementation of sustainable goals in Uganda. I don't want to go back to what they were talking about. As you are all aware, government of Uganda with other UN member countries adopted sustainable development goals in 2016. And at that time, the government of Uganda was the front runner because we had the presidency of the United General Assembly. So when it was being adopted, actually it's Uganda, which side? So what has happened since that time, from 2016 to 2021? When government adopted the Sustainable Development Goals, a coordination framework was developed to be coordinated by Office of the Prime Minister, and it had an institutional mechanism arrangement for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. And since this lead is an entry point to Sustainable Development Goals, I think I should have been prepared to give a short presentation on the evolution of the SDGs from MDGs to SDGs and where Uganda is, to give a journey so that as you start implementation, you use that information and then you proceed. Now, we have an institutional mechanism arrangement which was done and which this project should utilize. Right on the top, we have cabinet. Then down you have permanent secretaries, of course, steering committee, which usually meets every month by the head of public service. Then we have down a national task force on sustainable development goals. And then below it, we have 5 technical working groups. In fact, I'm talking about institutional mechanism where this lady now should find itself. Because some of the things that somehow have been proposed exist, and they should take advantage of what is actually available. Take advantage on the worker that they can be helped in some of the areas where they may have some problems. Now, where does now this lady or local government or URUGA fall? In the institutional mechanism arrangement, the technical working groups, they meet quarterly. We have one in charge of data sets chaired by Uganda Bureau of Statistics. And that one should not meet without actually local government. But I'm happy that local government has chosen a person who should be attending the technical working groups to deal with data. If you have got a problem with data, and so forth, Uganda Bureau of Statistics should be able to assist. And there they should not be charging you. We have planning and mainstreaming of SDGs. This is chaired by National Planning Authority. And we have been working very closely with local governments, planners. And most of the local governments, almost 8, I don't know, those I have seen, they have strategic plans which are linked to the National Development Plan. Most of the people covered here, and so of course I think you have them. Strategic plans linked to the National Development Plan 3, and the assessment that previously was done found that at least 90% of the National Development Plan is linked to SDGs. So once you are implementing National Development Plan 3, you are implementing already the Sustainable Development Goals. So from the local government issue, they have the plans, and that working group meets quarterly. Like on Monday, they should be meeting. And I had a meeting with the PS local government. We agreed, we said, you should take a central stage. And URUGA definitely should be appearing everywhere if you want. So Monday, they are going to meet and then assess that alignment and what support the local government need. Then the third one is communication and popularization. And I think this is where now URUGA, I interest URUGA to be in this one here. Communication and popularization of sustainable development goals. Because if you are to advocate, as you indicated in one of your objectives, in line with the SDGs, you need to work with this. And there is no way we can communicate, we can popularize SDGs, create awareness in local governments without local governments themselves. So we must create awareness, local government, and URUGA should play central stage. URUGA, we know what you are supposed to do, you are well organized, you need support. On that one, yeah. And local government already are doing that, but we want to strengthen it. To strengthen it so that people are aware of the SDGs. Most people don't know. They think it's an animal. Then the first one is financing of the SDGs. This one is chaired by Ministry of Finance. And in that working group, they should also include someone from local government. Those they have been meeting and local government has been missing. But when I talk of local government, even in URUGA, you can find your way. Using through the secretariat, you meet. So that when they are talking of financing of SDGs, you also give your views. You already have a proposal. We have this problem. So that somehow, somewhere, you can be supported. Like now there is a program on supporting implementation of financing sustainable development goals in government. And there should be a component on localization supported by the UN. It's a $2 million project. Already they have this past 500, we still have 1.5. So if we have a good case, we can have, because he was talking of sustainability. This project ends next year and it should not die. It should continue. So somewhere we should find a way of supporting it, implementing it, so that it continues, because it's a very good one. And that's why I was saying that since 2004 up to 2021, nothing much was done because of what? Coordination, and I think you need to change that one. There may have been problems, but at least you should have achieved something. Didn't you have indicators? developed for that, so that after 1 year, this is what I'm supposed to achieve. So if that was a mistake, now you have a new project, let us now start from now and we move, we work together. The last one is the coordination, monitoring, and reporting, which is chaired by Office of the Prime Minister. And when it comes to that, because I think there was a problem for 5 years, because last year government conducted a voluntary national review, the performance of sustainable development goals in Uganda. And the report produced was presented to the high-level political forum in New York last year, signed by the President of Uganda. So we conducted an assessment on the 17 goals and gave a position of Uganda, including localization I'm talking about. It is on the website. And the President signed, and of course where we did very well, where we did badly, where we were mediocres, and agreed as a government with UN agencies what the government should do in the next 10 years. There are 6 strategic actions which I feel this project also should be looking at. The first one is stronger partnership, coordination, and coordination. They have talked about it. That's a very good entry point, and that is the first strategic action for government now we are looking at in the next 10 years, and you already have it in this project. The second one is deeper localization and popularization of the SDGs. You cannot achieve SDGs if you don't have deeper localization. So you are very important. And now here, the next phase starting from July, we must move to the local governments. And there is no way we can make a budget, local government makes a budget, there is another project. No, we must work together. Whatever we have, we make sure that we support local governments to localize and deepen thinking of the SDGs. And that's why Engineer Castro was talking of mindset. We have 80% of the new local government leaders who are going to start, I think, working, I don't know, in a month's time, whatever. They don't know much. And during that time, we're talking with the PS that we should actually induct these people. Change their mindset a little bit. And as we are doing it, definitely we should be talking about sustainable development goals. Because sustainable development goals concern everyone. We are looking at the farthest person, the farthest, the one who is left behind. He's in the local government. The children, the women, the elderly, people with disabilities, they are down there, and that's our focus. So we need to induct these people. We talked about it, and Gideon Kasule, I remember he referred to it on his mindset. We should not, so we should be, as he was saying, should be actually putting that one. Then, the other one, of course, is building a leadership culture for the SDG agenda at all levels. This government, of course, you are in. We are talking of cities, municipalities, local, parishes, etc. So we have to build leadership. That's what the project is talking about. Then the first one is promoting focused innovations by all people in Uganda, especially younger people. We are talking of investors. I think the cow from Mukono, she talked about those innovations, planting passion fruits and so forth. So now, on a happy note, we're working with UNDP in Uganda. We have been working on a project called, of course, and developed investor maps. Investor maps, if you are to attract investors to come, let's say, to Kasese, to come to Karamoja, to invest on sustainable development goals, 17 goals. What do you do? We already have the maps. These are going to, it's going to be launched, I think, in a week's time, and Uruga definitely, and local government, you should interest yourself to make sure you get involved. We should be inviting you. We should not even forget why we forget, force us to do that one there. As it is launched, you have this one here. It was done by UNDP, but of course using IT and so forth. So in the whole country, we know where a person can invest. If you go to Kabareni, Kaharo sub-county, it indicates to you that if you concentrate on this, you will do it. And someone talked about the schools, etc. So Uruga, get interested in that one there. There is good hope in the same. Then the last one now is strengthening technology and information systems in SDG reporting. which is very clear. So finally, is that how now do you fit in the national institutional framework? This is a led project, and it's an entry point for SDGs. So how do you fit in the national institutional framework? Because somewhere as an outcome you were saying that the best practices and strategic interventions will be informing your annual URUGA meetings and any other international, regional conference. Is that all? Whatever good thing you do from LED as a best practice, you present it there. So as a country now, what next? Who will know what you are doing? So if you want the government to know, and when I talk of government, it's the people led even by executive, then you should find your way to the secretariat. The secretariat is a hub which has been formed by government and UN agencies to coordinate and provide technical assistance to you. So utilize it. I am happy that you have invited me. We are part, but in your presentation, I didn't see any secretariat appearing. So even if now you take it to the UN or to whatever, how will they support you when they know they already have a convergence center for sustainable development goals? So if you talk of SDGs, there is a hub where you have information, you have whatever, or if people are doing eating, eat with them, that's it. So take advantage of that. And Engineer Kasure was saying, is there a chance of changing and including whatever project report? What? It's up to you. But otherwise, take advantage of the secretariat. It can support the project. I think that's my concern. But otherwise, in the future, we are available to make not only presentation, because we should stop talking. It should be actions, practical actions. So we are available to support you. Thank you. Otherwise, it's a very good project. Keep it up. We are on your side.
Thank you very much, Dr. Albert, for that. And definitely, those observations add a lot of insight into what we need to do, especially the issue of localization with the leaving no one behind principle when you are doing the localization. I know a number of those things will be taken care of. And yes, Sam, who is on online from VNG, I'll get back to you, but let me I've recognized the hand that is up. So you are next. But before that, I want to get a feel from our colleagues from European Union who are here to give us also a view, and we proceed. Yes, you can give the mic to
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I will not speak much because of two reasons. The first being that my voice is actually not nice, and then secondly, I will have only a few things since I hadn't prepared to deliver today. First, I think thank you very much for inviting us to this event. It always gives me great pleasure to participate in events organized by local governments. As I mentioned in my introduction, I am the focal person for local authorities at the EU delegation, and so I always endeavor to participate whenever I have this information. Allow me sound like a broken record. I think I would like to reiterate again what the EU considers a very important point, which is the fact that local authorities and local governments are development partners in their own right. And I think based on that, we've had a long history of collaboration with ULGA. Since I joined almost 11 years ago, I had already found that there was a relationship between EU and ULGA, and that has continued in successive programming. I would not want to even start rediscussing the importance of lead. Immediately the event started, I sent a text message to Jennifer of UNCDF, wondering why she was not in the room, because I thought it is actually quite relevant and pertinent to what UNCDF is doing. She allayed my fears, and indeed she's participating virtually. There's quite a lot of complementarity, I think, between what UNCDF is doing and the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda, which is also another big EU flagship program. And I hope she can participate actively and take notes. So for me, I'm like, I'm looking for lessons. I'm looking for results. I'm looking for achievements of these interventions. Hopefully it can also benefit us in terms of our next programming, which I think is underway. I believe that quite a number of stakeholders, including Olga, have been already consulted on. And let's hope that if it takes shape, there's actually even a bigger role for local authorities to play in our next programming. I think with those few words, allow me to stop here, but again, allow me to apologize because I have to run, and my colleague as well. But Jennifer is here, and she will be able to field questions that may come our way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And at this juncture, we take a moment to welcome the minister who has just arrived, our chief guest. So let's recognize her. Please. Honorable Minister, you are welcome. And definitely, wherever we have the minister in our presence, we recognize the state. And I'm going to request that we stand up and you can put for us the national anthem. Pardon? One stanza of the national anthem. Okay. If the machines are not yet ready, God gave us the voices so we can also be able to sing. Okay. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Thank you very much. And Honorable Minister, you are very welcome. And definitely by the time you came, we were concluding the plenary session where we were having the reactions from different participants. And now I would like to go online and we receive the comments. I'm going to begin with Sam from VNG, and then later on I'll go to Dr. Jennifer Bukoke from UNCDF. So Sam, the floor is yours. And now let's move on to Dr. Jennifer Bukoke, who is also online. Dr. Jennifer?
Thank you very much.
for that feedback you've given us, and also the areas where we need to put a lot of thought. And we are really appreciative, as I had earlier communicated, for the kind of work you have done as far as LED is concerned in this country of ours. And now, bringing the discussion to a close, I want to call upon the Secretary General to come over and we deal with the issues of protocol, issues of official opening. That one is beyond my pedigree, so let me hand over the mic to people who are well accustomed with that. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Eugene. Always fantastic, very energetic. Thank you so much for moderating us and taking us through the morning session. Now, before I start off the protocol for closure, I want to recognize the Honorable Minister. Thank you so much for joining us. I just wanted to end off this discussion with a small thank you to VNG and UNCDF. I want to use this opportunity and platform. We missed you in Kasese, but we annually recognize partners that we have worked with through the course of the year. And for the last financial year, we had tremendous support from you, Dr. Jennifer, under the DINU program, but we just did not work with local governments from the north. It helped profile us and our advocacy agenda at the national level. So we have a small certificate here for you. I hope I can be able to deliver it to you, but this comes to UNCDF in recognition for your tremendous support. Thank you so much. And equally in the same vein, VNG International, Sam, we have been with you for quite a while. Yes, there you are. I was wondering. We have been with you for quite a while. And we want to say thank you to VNG for holding our hands as ULGA. I know yours is a lot about building our capacity as a sister association and network, and we do appreciate that. You've been able to walk us through the journey of our next corporate strategic direction, come the next 5 years. We are grateful. We'll be able to deliver this to you as well. So thank you so, so much. We appreciate that. Now moving to the program of the day, it is at this point that I am privileged to invite our president, Mr. Joseph Lomonyang, the first man at local government level, or is it after the minister? But the minister is government, so at local government level. We should be calling him the first man to come really and address us, give us his message, and after that, do us the honors of inviting the Honorable Minister to officially launch our project. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of State for Local Government, the Chairperson, the ULGA Finance and Management Committee, who is Kao Shakwansi, the Secretary General, Commonwealth Local Government Forum, our development partners, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Local Government, the PS from the Ministry of Trade, Secretary General of ULGA, officials from the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Trade respectively, colleagues, chairpersons of Mpigi, who is here in person, the Mayor of Wakiso, and the Mayor of Makinde, Sebagabo Municipality, our accounting officers, and respective technical officials, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to join the previous speakers in welcoming you all to this auspicious launch of our LED pilot project that will be seeking to showcase the importance of the local economic development as a tool for achieving sustainable development goals. As you have already seen, unheard. This project is yet another intervention by the association that seeks to build the capacity of local government to improve the service delivery through effective and efficient national policy and program implementation. Today, the policy of LED is well espoused, developmented by the NDP3 Regional Development Program, shared by our own Ministry of Local Government. For this matter, we as Olga underscore our contribution as equal partners with government in development. Olga, since 2013, has taken the responsibility of helping local government successfully implement the LED policy and wild strategies for its realization. We have gone ahead to develop an organizational policy guideline on LED that speaks to our mandate and how we intend to work with our members on the subject. In addition to our continued advocacy role, we initiated annual conferences where we provided a platform to our local governments to learn and share experiences on working the policy with policies at regional and international levels. We have so far held 3 conferences with support of UNCDF, VNG International, where we have showcased best practices from the Netherlands, Rwanda, South Africa, and Kenya. It is through the recommendations of this conference that we have engineered through process around mobilizing local government into regional development forums and consortiums that are now being leveraged by development partners, and now government to further deepen various approaches to local development. It is therefore true that through these innovative learning platforms, Olga and the local governments have the capability to influence and inform the future of our local economic development agenda, and muscle its benefits that anchor and provide a mechanism for the attainment of sustainable development goals. Our statistics around the localization agenda remain inadequate, and therefore we hope that the lessons learned from the pilot can strengthen and catalyze our call for increased involvement of local government through practical and effective localization agenda for the SDGs. Coming to our own friends and funders of the project, European Union and CLGF, Olga is a long-standing member of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, as well as a beneficiary of the funding support from European Union. This project funding is coming under the SGA2 program of the EU office in Brussels, and where our SG continues to ably present in the policy development forums that informs EU development cooperation with local government amongst other actors in Africa. Olga also did and is to host the Commonwealth East Africa region office, through which a lot of coordination took place in the Ministry of Local Government, where we co-hosted and the CLGF conference in 2013. We have since then continued to interface under the EAC Sub-Regional Forum for Ministries and Local Government Associations, as well as the East African Local Government Association platforms. We are grateful to the CLFG and continue to pride in the fact that they have continued to choose us for working partners. Thank you, CLFGF, for fulfilling the journey. To the EU, we remain up and we appreciate for the huge investments you continue to make in our local governments of Uganda. Olga is proud to have you as a partner for the days of the 7th EDF program, the 9th EDF program, and now the DINU program. We have registered youth capacity development mileage as a local government, but above all, we appreciate the change that has come with providing specific and committed funding to the local authorities. We look forward to a stronger direct and bilateral structured partnership as an association under the forthcoming program 2021 to 2027. similar to the arrangements defined by the SDGs 2 program. We believe that such a transition can only make us stronger for effective and efficient local governments in Uganda. To you, our local partners, our local governments of Mpigi, Mukono, and Makinde, Sebagabo Municipal Council, I ask for commitment and discipline to ensure that this pilot gives us the expected results, which will sow yet another seed of cooperation for rollout to the rest of the Olga family. I have listened carefully to the statements of the commitments by the chairpersons. On behalf of the Olga, we shall hold you to it. Having said that, allow me to equally acknowledge our beloved Minister of State and thank her for coming. We look forward to our ministry engaging local governments in actual execution of the regional development program and the led policy guided by the right oversight and the on support of your ministry. It is therefore my singular honor and pleasure to formally invite you, Honorable Minister, to come and address the delegates and officially launch this project. I thank you.
The President of Uluga, the local government leadership, members from the different MDAs, the Secretariat of Uluga, our development partners, some of whom are online. Ladies and gentlemen, Namuyangu Kacha Jennifer is my name, State Minister for Local Government. And I'm delighted to be here with you, to be part of the historical event when we formally launch the Uganda Local Government Association, Commonwealth Local Government Forum, SDA2 pilot projects using local economic development led as an entry point for the achievement of the sustainable development goals. But before I continue, Uganda being a member of the Commonwealth countries, we join in the mourning of the passing on of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, and I request that we stand up and observe a minute of silence. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to Uluga, our key partner, for their excellent collaboration and support in the implementation of the decentralization policy, and also for developing this idea that has culminated in this well-intentioned event today. The need for rapid socio-economic development as enshrined in the Uganda Development Framework, NDP3, Vision 2040, the commitment to SDGs, UN Agenda 2030, of leaving no one behind. The Sustainable Development Goals set a framework for the global agenda of driving development for all nations in the world. And this concerted effort has 17 goals and 63 targets. And Uganda is committed to the implementation of the SDGs through NDP3 and the 18 programs and the regional model that should be adopted by all MDAs. Under NDP3, local economic development is the drive for community development with a focus on local government productive activities which are indispensable of the challenge of increased local resource mobilization. Every effort, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, leads to the promotion of local economic development as a sixth objective of the decentralization policy and the subsequent development of the Uganda National Local Economic Development Policy of 2014, whose mission is to create a local governance mechanism which promotes a conducive economic and political environment for the private sector investment, employment in local areas, for improved household incomes and service delivery. I have no doubt that since 1993, decentralization policy was one of the major policy reforms adopted by the government of Uganda to ensure good local governance, to improve service delivery, and reduce poverty in Uganda. The policy realigned the relationship between the central government and local governments, both in terms of fiscal and institutional arrangements. And as such, local governments play a key role in the implementation of government's policies and programs, including supporting efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and the other regional and international goals and development frameworks. The government of Uganda, therefore, made its further commitment to poverty reduction by adding local economic development as the sixth objective of the decentralization policy. Consequently, lead has been highlighted as a key development approach anchored on the NDP3, and it is intended to create a conducive environment for investment, increase the household incomes, and higher revenues for local governments. This definitely translates into improved service delivery and well-being of the people. It is also vital to note that lead as an outcome can be defined positively as sustained and comprehensive change in the quality of life of the people of Uganda. And to operationalize the policy, the ministry established lead department or local economic development department in March 2019. And this department is now fully fledged with the overall mandate to coordinate the implementation of the policy. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2018, ACCORD undertook a study. And in this study, it was intended to assess the capacities of local governments for local economic development. And this established the concept on lead. This view is further corroborated by, again, a research that was done in 2017. And this was intended to do mapping and evaluation for the local revenues. And this was conducted in 17 districts by the Local Government Finance Commission. It also established that lead had not been fully internalized and therefore not mainstreamed in the local government structures, except for a few district local governments. The findings point to the fact that whereas the economic potential of the districts in sectors of agriculture, mining, manufacturing, trade, and tourism is undisputable, structures that were designed to implement the LED policy right from the center to the districts remain non-functional, and therefore the potential was not being harnessed. There are challenges, of course, including lack of resources to prepare a pool of human resource members who are capable of its promotion through LED strategic planning and implementation, lack of a positive mindset, which is critical for LED dispensation, lack of organized platforms, both at local and national level, for coordination among the actors, as well as shortage of the requisite skills in both the economic and political governance structures that are key for building transformation development. But going forward, there are opportunities for LED to thrive in the local governments, and these include the following. The already established LED department in the Ministry of Local Government should guide LED initiatives such as the one that we are witnessing today, which is going to be implemented in the district of Mpigi, Mukono, and Makindye Sabagabo. But number two, LED being prioritized in the country's National Development Plan 3 is also an opportunity. The country's supportive environment for building partnerships and collaboration, the existence of an enabling economic and political environment to spur development, the existence of potential partners for LED, that's the public sector, the private sector, and the community on the other hand, and development partners is also an opportunity that exists. The abundant natural resources in the country, agriculture, minerals, tourism, the cheap labor, urbanization, we have created cities, those are all opportunities. What should we do to see change in the local governments? I've already told you that we have a department. Therefore, we need to have LED platforms or fora at both national and local levels with the skills and ability to plan, implement, and promote LED for purposes of streamlining, stimulating functional local investment climate, development of new enterprises, attraction of outside investments, invest in appropriate ventures, but also generation of employment and raising of adequate local revenue for their sustainability. You agree with me that now the local governments, you hardly find one which generates 10% of their local revenue. Majority are now depending on the center. However, to achieve the above, local governments are expected to play a key role, such as promoting participation by all sectors of the society to launch economic development initiatives that are inclusive, sustainable, and life-enhancing. Local governments also need to initiate, catalyze, and drive processes that engage stakeholders in visioning a prosperous future. You are aware we have already secured our future, but we need to make it prosperous. Local governments must also mobilize local stakeholders to generate action plans, and these action plans should be a bottom-up approach, because in many circumstances we impose programs on the local governments or on the communities and that cannot work. So we need now to use the bottom-up approach. Lastly, we need to use local levels for interaction of people, create partnerships and alliances to find synergies on initiatives relevant to the particular conditions of the communities or the localities. Now, those local governments, the 3 that are going to be used as a pilot, kindly do the needful so that we can see results. Because now we have 136 districts. If Mpigi fails, Mukono fails, Makindye Sabagabo fails, that will be a death row for the rest of the districts in terms of taking up this project. And our collective focus should be on mindset change, riding corruption off the institutions and systems, increasing the stock of production, especially on the socio-economic infrastructure, enterprise development, and support ecosystem, skills, technology, and innovation, as well as encouraging local business growth, especially the SMEs. In conclusion, I want to thank our organizers, I want to thank Uluga for being very, very proactive. This is the way to go. Rosie, I want to thank you specifically as a secretariat. I want to thank our president and the entire executive for really being focused and being innovative. We commit as a ministry to continue working closely with you. I want to do that, to commit on behalf of the entire ministry. In conclusion, I am going to launch in conclusion. So Rosie should come forward. So in conclusion, can others join me? Mr. President, with a small P. Can also the chairpersons join? Friends, come. I don't want to do this one alone. Because, you know, when the projects fail, you take the blame. When they succeed, I take the credit. I have the honor and privilege on behalf of the Ministry of Local Government to launch the Uganda Local Government Association Pilots Project on using local economic development for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I saw launch. President, they want to see your face. As you sign. So that is. They should see your face. So that when the thing fails, they know whom to crucify.
Kao mkono.
Very good. sanitize these things and put them back. Oh. Very good. So she's putting the date. I should put the date. I'm not going to forget details. Good.
That is the town clerk. Thank you so much. And as we allow our Okay, at this point I'll request the district chairperson of Mpigi to come and give his vote of thanks and statement of commitment on behalf of the rest.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of State for Local Government, Chairperson, Olga Finance and Management Committee, the Secretary General Commonwealth Local Government Forum, our development partners, representative present, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade, PS, Minister of Local Government, Secretary General Uluga, officials from Minister of Local Government and Trade, College District Chairperson of Mukono, Wakiso, and Mayor Machinde Sawagabo, our accounting officers, especially one from Mpigi, our technical team, our commercial officer Mpigi, who is going to be ahead the operationalization of this project. Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, it is with absolute extreme delight and privilege that I stand here before you to extend a vote of thanks from we, the beneficiary pilot local governments identified under this project. Allow me start by thanking our association president, Mr. Joseph Lomnyang, who is here with us, for the great stewardship that he has provided the right environment to our secretariat to grow this idea and develop it to what it has become today, a pilot project ready for execution. We equally thank you and the entire executive committee for the excellent international relations and representation that has brought forth projects such as this one from our network, the Commonwealth Local Government Forum. We applaud you all. We are even more grateful to the Commonwealth Local Government Forum for the spirit of great partnership with our association and for taking that leap of faith to invest in building our capacities for lead policy implementation. Indeed, it remains true that local governments are the key pillars for economic development. And through that process, highly characterized by the service delivery agenda, we stand to witness the realization of the sustainable development goals that underpin our mandate as local governments. It is therefore within this spirit that even from the onset, I recommend for the expansion of the lesson to reach our wider network with similar intervention for us to leverage and secure the desired impact on the goals of the national-led policy at large. As beneficiaries, we are excited and receive the support with grace and commitment to execute to the best of our ability. It is true that currently this program area and the commensurate structure and organ remain underfunded, and that there is a need for mobilization of capacities and adequate financing for us to realize the benefits of this important national policy that informs our local development agenda. Ultimately, it is our expectation that this project shall secure continuity of action for the equal benefit of the rest of the local government and our umbrella association, ULGA. And as such, I call upon all as ULGA to ensure that we remain compliant to the project goals as well as the commensurate reporting requirements. Therefore, on behalf of Mpigi District, Mukono District, and Machinde Sabagabo Municipal Council, we say thank you to Yanziza. I'll not fail to recognize and appreciate our Minister of State for Local Government, Honorable Namuyangu, for sparing the time of her busy schedule to yet again join us at this, join us mark this important landmark. Of course, we were together at Kaseso also when we were here. So we are very grateful for your always being available to us as you guys, local governments. We are reliably informed that through your representation, you did secure Uganda's seat on the board of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, where the ministry and ULGA serve as our representatives with respective institutional capacities. For this, we salute you and for your unrelenting spirit to fight for the cause of local government. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, Madam Minister. Finally, you all must agree that we would not be here if not for the innovation, the mobilization, the coordination, and the strategic planning of our Secretary General. Madame Rose Gamwell and her team for this project. As local government, we are fortunate to have that, such a great team of passionate workers serving our association. Thank you so much. We are grateful for the contribution you put towards the continued vibrancy and visibility of our great institution, ULGA. We equally right behind, we equally lay our colleague and local government to strengthen their membership commitment and support to the Secretariat in general. Continue subscribing, subscription. Yes, it has been a problem, and I'm just only requesting each and every local government to make sure that we support our Secretariat. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you all. I thank you all, the speakers for the day, and all participants for gracing this event with their individual presence. It has been a great pleasure indeed. Thank you very much all. May God bless you for God and my country.
Thank you so much, District Chairperson. And finally, two small things we want to go through. You may have your seat. I want to kindly request our chairperson for the Finance and Management Committee to hand over a small token of appreciation to you, our Honorable Minister. It comes from the heart of Olga. You've always been there for us, and we recognize your tremendous support. Maybe if I could just allow me to take it out and say a little words, because this is what, this is just really a biography of becoming by Michelle Obama. And this is what we see in you as our woman leader in the local government sector. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, yes, thank you. The last one, you're welcome, you're welcome. Our last one is to have a group photo with our Honorable Minister, and to request her maybe photo, please. The professionals come and help us put this together, but I'll request first of all that we have a picture with the President, the Chairperson, and the leaders, and the local governments, the Mpiji, Mukono, and Machindi Sabagabo representatives, to be the first to come and take a group photo here. Maybe we first take a picture with the launch. Yes, please. Maybe some of them could go behind a bit, because, yeah, something like that. Thank you very much. So it's that time when we say thank you very much. There's a lady online, I think you've been seeing her, Miss Claire Frost. I shouldn't close without saying hello to you. Thank you for joining. And she is the desk person. Whatever paperwork we're doing, Claire was quite right there. We are here today, Claire, and I'm happy you've been able to join to witness everything. Thank you so much. So we've closed, and I want to invite you all to lunch. I hope everybody has got their coupon. But I'd like to inform our pilot local governments that we equally carried some awareness creation materials with us. So please, the commercial officers, make sure that you come and receive the set of T-shirts, some brochures, and banners for your work as you begin to work at that local level. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. I've been asked to say grace. Let's humble ourselves. We ask you, Lord, to bless this food, O Lord, we're about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. Please find the restaurant on the ground floor. I hope everybody has received their coupon.